Bonjour, y'all. It's Jeff from coming in from the south of France in Perpignan. Just wanted to do a video to cover the move of my pet cat, Freya, and what was all involved with that, and how all that went. As most of you know, that if you've ever moved a pet before, whether in the United States or internationally, particularly, but it's probably the worst part of the entire move. It's one of those things where everything else could go wrong and I'd be okay with it. I'm used to, having to handle problems and deal with issues and all that sort of thing. Because again, with my career, I moved around the country quite a bit. But when it comes to a pet, it's like they don't have any control over what's happening and don't know what's happening, and there's a lot of stress involved with it. So that to me is the worst part of, especially doing something like this where you're moving several thousand miles away and going to be in a plane and all that sort of thing. So, but in any case, obviously Freya's here. She's all acclimated now and seems to be happy being in France. Not much different for her. So aside from the food, the litter is different, but I found both of those that were equivalent or something that she was actually going to deal with. So now I'm trying to address, I'm in a different space. So now you'll see that I'm in the dining area. Hopefully this isn't quite as echoey as out in the three-season room, but it might very well be. We don't have any rugs in here, so it's tough to muffle the sounds a little bit. But in any case, I just wanted to talk about that. The part of it, and again, always check to see what your regulations are for the country that you're looking to move to. I'm just talking about my experience that I had coming to France and bringing Freya with me. So it's a one-way flight. I opted for a direct flight from Atlanta to Barcelona. There were a couple of reasons for that. One is I didn't want to have to deal with changing planes or doing different stops for coming over with Freya, because I didn't know it's going to be a long travel day either way. I didn't want it to turn into some harrowing experience for her. But my vet. So the first step you do is you go to your vet, and they should know. I can't imagine that there are many vets out there that aren't somewhat familiar with the process. But anyway, when you're flying over to France and to bring your pet into the EU, it's a 10-day. You have to have the pet examined by your vet within 10 days of your flight, or at least of arriving in your destination point. So, and there's no leeway on that. And it just seems like such an odd, and I get that they're doing this so that it's like something doesn't happen to the pet during the period of time and suddenly gets sick or, develops some other disease or whatever sort of thing. So I get that but it's so, it just seems so arcane with the way that it's handled. My vet that I had in Atlanta did a great job because he was used to sending, or their facility was used to sending show dogs and horses, which I think shipping horses has got to be a challenge in itself. But here to Spain, and particularly for competitions and that, so they were very well versed in what needed to be done. So in any case, on the 10th day prior to my departure, took Freya into the vet, had the checkup, did their thing. Everything was great, of course, and so. They sent the certificate off to, and what it has to do is then they can send it electronically, and they send it off to the USDA, and it has to have a USDA approved vet sign off on it type thing, and they'll send back the paperwork for you that you need to have with you in order to take your pet. So that's the harrowing part of it, because nobody has any control over when you're going to actually see that documentation come back. And my vet had said that, I'm very just, oh, don't worry about it. We've never had anybody not get the paperwork in time. And I'm like, well, okay, well, now you just cursed it. So so in any case, to make a short story long, I was out of my house and at a hotel, obviously with Freya, and waiting for the paperwork to come in, and I could still get to the house and go check the mail and all that sort of. It was coming back UPS, overnight UPS. so it got to be a couple of days out, and I got a notification from UPS saying that the paperwork had been picked up in Massachusetts, somewhere like Boston or whatever, and like, so it's not even a local vet. It just seems to go to some random USDA approved vet somewhere in the United States. And so anyway, paperwork was picked up. I'm like, oh, great. It's coming. It should be here in plenty of time. Wait. Next day, hear nothing. Next day, it's like I'm like, okay, I'm starting to panic because it's like I got the flight, and get an email saying that it had arrived in an Atlanta facility, but they couldn't find it. So it's going to be they're searching for it, and sorry for any inconvenience. Okay, so I contacted the vet in a panic, and I'm like, I'm supposed to fly out tomorrow, and I don't have the paperwork, and now UPS is saying they can't find it in their facility that it arrived in here in Atlanta. And so they quickly got in and resubmitted the paperwork, which of course I had to pay for again. And I asked them, I said, please don't use UPS, please use FedEx or somebody else. I can't risk this, and have it sent to the hotel. Don't have it sent to the house. And so they got all that arranged. Of course, I had to pay for that again, which was like another $150 or something like that. And it's like, okay. But I didn't have to take Freya in for another exam at least. It just they were just getting essentially another one done. So I contacted Delta, got my flight changed for a week, because I had no idea how long it was going to take to get it. I mean, it could be another 10 days before something came in. But I switched the flight for a week, was able to get my room extended at the hotel for a week, was able to get my car extended for the rental car for a week, and just kind of hanging. Now I'm just hanging out at the hotel, just waiting for paperwork to show up. It's like I'm not even trying to, I've got everything ready to go, everything else ready to go. So in any case, I get a notification from FedEx saying the paperwork's been picked up somewhere in Wisconsin, I think it was. And it's like, okay, well, okay, great. And next day I get a phone call from the front desk saying, Mr. Arnold, your paperwork's in, it's here. So I would go running downstairs. Well, okay, let's be honest, it wasn't running. I probably walked kind of fast and I took the elevator. But got down there, paperwork came out. This is, it's a 7-page document that comes in is what you're looking for. And I was like, okay, awesome. I've got it. Contacted the vet. Thanked him very much for doing that again. I said, I've got the paperwork. UPS apparently agreed to refund me the overnight charge for the initial package. But nothing about any of the other expenses that I had to go to wait for this freaking paperwork to show up. So in any case, got the paperwork. Had like another day and a half or so, something like that. So I just kind of hung out and then got everything packed up, and was warned about the Atlanta airport with pets was that it can be challenging at times. So I said, get the airport early. So I thought, okay, I'll get there. What else do I have to do? So got Freya packed up in her little kennel, got her in her harness, got her in her kennel, because you have to take the cat out. You have to take the pet out, if you got a cat or a dog, you have to take the pet out of the kennel in order for the kennel to go through the x-ray machine, and then you carry the pet through your own x-ray machine and then put it back into the kennel. But so I'm like, okay, great, go drop off the car, get to the airport like 4 hours early, walk in. So I've got her in her kennel on top of my rollaway bag. I've got my other bags with me. I go up to the Delta counter, not a soul there other than the CSA type thing. So I walk up, super nice woman that helped me out, and I had to pay $200 for Freya's seat underneath the seat in front of me, and so I paid that, got that taken care of. Found out the TSA pre-check was not open yet, which I'm like, why is that not open? Why am I? You having to go through the regular line, because you pay for TSA pre-check, and it's like I just tried to make it so that it would be less inconvenient for me as well, trying to get Freya through as long and as well as me with my laptop, phone, all that type of stuff that you drag with you. So anyway, go through the security line. It wasn't a very long security line. Go through the security line, get up to the thing, empty out the laptop, pull the laptop out, take my shoes off, do all the other hoo-ha that you've got to do that you don't have to do in TSA pre-check, but got all the stuff in, got it into the bins. Went to grab Freya to pull her out with the harness, and got her, like maybe 6 or 8 inches up over that kennel, and plop, she just dropped right up. She's too small. I bought the smallest harness I could find, and but plop, she just fell right out of it, right back into her kennel. So I quickly snatched her up by the scruff of her neck, type thing. And Freya she's a tiny cat, which was nice. I mean, she's like 7 pounds, but she's not one that particularly likes to be held, and and she has all claws, and so anyway, I'm holding her up kind of very carefully, trying not to freak her out, and but of course we're surrounded by a whole bunch of people, we're in a noisy environment, all that sort of thing, and so I grab her up, walk through the machine, and the fellow on the other side, the TSA agent on the other side, just is like, "Oh, you've been randomly selected to be wanted." I'm like, "Hey, you are going to be following me over to where I'm going to be putting her back into her kennel before we do anything." I said, "I am not about to try to hold on to this little Tasmanian devil while I'm getting wanded here." So I walked over, carefully put her back in her kennel, zipped it up, type thing. So she was all back in that. And then went over and got the wanding and all that. And of course, by the time that's done, which nothing was found, but I mean, by the time that was done, there's a pile of people out there now, and all of my stuff is kind of crammed toward the back end of this conveyor belt. I mean, people have flown know what that's like. But so I'm trying to, put the computer back in, get my stuff lined up, put my shoes back on, do all this stuff to get all lined up. I'm like, okay, made it through. And, but the thing was that not one person in Atlanta asked for her paperwork, and I wasn't hiding her. I mean, I had her in the bag. There was no signage that I saw that said, if you have a pet, go here, type thing. Nobody at TSA said anything about, oh, you have a pet, you need to go here, type thing. So I just went to the gate and thought, okay, but that wasn't so bad. Now, I don't know what other people's, whatever your experience was, just please put it in the comments down below, because I'd like to hear what other people's experiences have been with flying with a pet. But nobody asked for anything going through there. So anyway, I had all of her paperwork ready to go, but nobody asked for it. So get into the flight, get onto the plane, put her underneath the seat in front of me, type thing. Everything fit just perfectly fine. She had plenty of room to move around, all that sort of thing. And I could, open it up a little bit and just scratch her. And she was very calm the whole time. So I let the flight attendant know, and I said, just look, if anything happens, I said, I've got her wipes, I've got this stuff, I've got some food, whatever it is, that type of thing. But I said, I've never flown with her, so I don't know if she's going to be freaking out, because she's never been a loud cat. I mean, she's not very chatty, and when she is chatty, it's not like it's a loud howl or anything. So in any case, flight ends, and of course I'm awake the whole time. I can't, I'm so nervous that something's going to happen with her and she's going to freak out that, I couldn't, and I have a hard time sleeping on a plane anyway. But she just, it was absolute champ. No issue at all. No, didn't poop in her container, didn't pee in the container, didn't do anything that was, out of the ordinary. As far as I know, she either slept or just stayed there, motionless most of the time. So anyway, get to Barcelona, land in Barcelona. And by the way, it ended up in Barcelona because it had it was a direct flight from Atlanta to Barcelona. And 2, I was able to get a car service to pick me up, to drive me to the apartment in Perpignan. So I'll leave the information for, I think it's called Andy, Andy, but I'll leave their information in the description below. Fantastic service. It's not cheap. I'm going to tell you, it's not cheap. But if you're carrying a pet with you, it was certainly, and maybe it works with small children and all that too. But it's so much less hassle than trying to take the train to the train station, take the train from the airport to the train station in Barcelona, and then wait for the train there in Barcelona to take you to Perpignan type thing. So that would have been several hours of trying to coordinate that and get that taken care of. and that's not inexpensive either. It's not like it's $10 to do that. So anyway, I hired the service to come pick me up, and they keep in contact via WhatsApp because they keep track of when your flight's coming in and all that, and they know that you're coming internationally, so things will take a little bit longer. So they try to time the driver arriving, around the time, and they'll wait for you. They'll wait for you. Now, if you're super delayed, like something happens while you're in the airport, sort of thing, there might be some additional charge for that, but they don't just abandon you, which was nice. So anyway, land, get my bags, go to passport control here in Barcelona, and the line was long. There's two lines. There's an EU passport and a non-EU passport line, and so obviously I was in the non-EU passport line. And as were probably 90% of the people that were coming in, seems like on those flights that were coming in at the same time. So the line for the non-EU passport was very long. The line for the EU passport was very short or non-existent. So they decided to break the line, like two people in front of me. So they just decided, okay, we'll just start taking these people and moving them over to the EU line. The rest of the people can just keep going with the, in the regular line. So I'm just toddling around, got my bags, push them around over there. Got Freya sitting right on top of my my roll around bag, and so and she's not saying a thing. She's perfectly quiet, just looking at everybody, all that sort of, but just perfectly quiet. Go up to the passport control fella, give him my passport. I've got the paperwork ready to go. I'm like all set to go type thing, and he just stamps the passport, hands it back to me. Welcome to Barcelona. Okay. Oh, okay. So then I just went out to arrivals area, and that's like nobody did anything in Barcelona either with the pet. And again, I'm not trying to hide her. I'm not trying to do anything just illegal here. It's just that I've never flown with a pet, especially internationally, and it's like I don't. There was nothing that indicated I had to go do anything, check in with a doctor or a vet or something like that. So the driver shows up. He very, very nice service, great service. I highly recommend them. The video's not sponsored by them. I'm not getting this. The link I have down below is not an affiliate link. It's just that I really like them, and they also service other areas. So it's not just Barcelona to like Perpignan. I think they'll do like Valencia, Madrid, some of the other areas too in Spain, and they'll take you in between, and you can select what type of vehicle you want. So I ended up with a Mercedes Sprinter van type thing because I knew, I'd have luggage and I'd have Freya, and I didn't want to be in like a little car type thing. So, but they have different size vehicles you can choose from. So anyway, loaded up the car, and they helped me with the bags out. Loaded up the car, drove to Perpignan. Like it was maybe a 2.5 hour drive from the airport, maybe 3 hours, maybe 2.5 hours from the airport, and that was that. Made it up to Perpignan. So now I needed to have the paperwork taking her to her first vet visit, and I'm going to be taking her to the vet here in another couple of weeks. So because she's got to get her final bits for her pet passport. This is her little pet passport. And not that I'm going to plan on taking my cat around Europe when I'm doing any little trips, but in any case, if I do have to take her somewhere, that makes it much easier to cross borders with that pet passport, especially once she's got her vaccinations caught up here in France. So she has her vaccinations, but they get more particular about having them EU vaccinated. So. In any case, that's my experience with flying over. I extended my trip essentially for a week to seem for no apparent reason. But of course, if I hadn't had the paperwork with me, that's when everybody would have been yelling and screaming at me about not having the paperwork and not letting me on the flight or doing whatever type thing. So I'd rather have it the way it went than having an issue. But in any case, just wanted to pop up a video about my experience with flying with my cat. Bring her to the EU, and but please share your experience down below in the comments. And but if you have any questions, leave questions in the comments, and I'll be happy to try to answer them as best I can. And again, thanks for watching. Appreciate you all, and we'll catch you in the next video. Au revoir.